Get in there, grab your orb, and get back out. You're not coming in? Bick asked. She shook her head. No, we'll watch the street to make sure no one is coming. Bick swallowed hard. Fine. I'll be right back. Metal scratched against metal as he turned the handle, followed by the squeaking of the door hinges as he carefully opened the door. Stepping inside, he was overcome by a ripe smell of dead rodents. The room was pitch black, except for the thin light peeking through the window shades and a sliver of light from the front door against the wall to his left. He held his breath and turned toward the window ledge. One step at a time, he quietly shuffled his feet across the creaking floor. Spiderwebs brushed against his face. Wiping them off his head as fast as they landed, his right shoulder was now covered with them. Nearing the window, his foot bumped against something soft, like a thick pillow. It was too dark to confirm. Slowly moving his foot back, he could feel the object was stuck to his shoe. Bick shook his foot slightly to knock it off. No luck. Tapping his toe softly to get it off didn't work either. Shaking his foot harder still had no effect, so he reached down with his hand to push it off. Upon touching the object, he found it to be furry and soft. Perhaps it was a mink coat or something on those lines. Grabbing the item, he heard a little growl. His fingers could now feel ribs under the fur. They raised and lowered from breathing. The shoulder blade moved. A head twisted around and snapped at him. "Sand rats!" he yelped, standing up and kicking it against the wall. Knocking it off, he backed up to get out of the shop. Slam! The front door shut, cutting off all light from that side of the room. Bick ran for the door at full tilt. Tiny footsteps could be heard behind him as the giant sand rat raced after him. Running blind, he hoped he was heading the right way. Several steps into the chase, Bick could hear a second rat moving on his right, and then a third. Without warning, he ran smack into something as tall as himself, knocking him down with a crash. "Ouch!" Fawn and Gaz shouted as they both fell to the floor. Bick was relieved that it was them, but only for a moment. "Sand rats! Run! Get out of here!" Fawn stood up and prevented him from running to the door. "You can't go out there. Someone's coming, and I think it's the captain." The moment of silence that followed was quickly filled with the sound of rats approaching from every direction. "Better him than these rats," Bick said, running for the door. Fawn agreed and followed, pulling Gaz up off the floor. "We're going to die," Gaz yelled, as he was being dragged to the door, rats at his heels biting on his pant legs. Flinging the door open, the three jumped out into the street just as the captain approached his shop's entrance. His large, intimidating silhouette cast a shadow on the children, hiding their faces. The captain was a wide and massive human. A large animal bone was used as a cane as he limped towards them. The poster on the front wall had been ripped down and was tightly gripped in his left hand. "Get out of me shop, you no-good thieves!" Picking up his thick animal bone, he swung it at them with full force. The children scattered as the crushing blow missed them and flattened one of the sand rats instead. Running around the corner and through the streets, they could hear the captain yelling at them. They just hoped he hadn't seen their faces. Bick ran alongside his friends, huffing and puffing. "I have a better plan to get my orb for tomorrow night." Chapter 2. A stranger comes to town. "It's wrong. We shouldn't be doing this." Gaz leaned back against the window frame as he straddled the windowsill with one leg hanging outside. The warmth of the late fall sun felt good against the cool day temperatures, and the young Polenum soaked it up. Polenums, more commonly known as nums, had softer facial features than humans, who were a head taller than the nums. This was the case of Gaz, Bick, and Fawn. In addition, their hair was streaked with various bright colors from nature, and their pale skin was often interrupted with patches, swirls, and lines of darker skin tones. Bick sat on his bed on the fourth floor of the family's crookedly vertical house. Thin and tall, the dilapidated